Hi everybody, welcome to this webinar on converting the primary opportunities for you and your business. So it's about looking at business opportunities. I'm finding lots of my clients and lots of businesses out there are struggling to identify the opportunities and particularly which opportunities to focus on. So we're going to take you through some really simple techniques and processes for you to work up the opportunities for you and your business and to start making them a reality. Now, I guess the challenge is for many businesses is there are too many opportunities, and which ones do we pick? So we're going to talk about simple sifting tools, and then we're also going to talk about how you get to an action plan. Now, this recording is not the live webinar. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues during the webinar, and it didn't work out as well as I'd like. So this is actually a video recording of it. Now, the webinar we did in conjunction with the WLW group, harder to say than it sounds, and that's with Ian Watson and his team. Ian and his team are a great accounting firm on the Gold Coast and also at Armidale in New South Wales. And Ian and I have been working very closely together in the last year, and working closely on his business, but also starting to work with his clients. And so this is the first in a few webinars that we will do together. So great to have Ian and his team on board with us. So let's just think about opportunities. And I guess the first thing I want you to do is I want you to start getting your head ready and thinking about opportunities. Now, a great way to do that, it's going to sound really counterintuitive, but I want you to think about, if you think about your business for the next 12 months. So we said 2015, 2016, but really I'm saying in the next 12 months, what's your biggest challenge? So what's the biggest challenge that you're going to undertake in the next 12 months? Okay. So what I want you to do now is just pause the video for a second. I want you to write this down and make sure that you've listed out the biggest challenge. So what do you feel is the biggest challenge for your business in the next 12 months? Press pause. When you're ready to start again, simply press play. Okay, so some of the challenges we came up with in the webinar were around acquiring new customers, around marketing, around sales, around process improvement, and around our team. So those are some of the ones that came up. And the reason for I guess getting you to think about challenges are sometimes it's good to think about the barriers. What are the things that are going to get in the way? Because sometimes they're the opportunities that you need to focus on. So if you can focus on a challenge, that's fantastic. But let's think about other challenges. So that's a way of looking at challenges, but it's also about just getting you focused on your business. So it's a great exercise to do if you want to just get focused on your business, is to think about, okay, what's the big challenge? What are the things we need to address? All right, so let's just start to set the scene, and let's think about some opportunities and some of the things you might want to consider when you're thinking about opportunities for your business. The first of these is the five trends. We've done a number of webinars on these. There's videos on the website. There's a whole heap of stuff around these trend summaries. But very quickly think about the trends. Think about how they may impact you and your business, and start to think about the opportunities that they will create for you. They'll create some problems for you, but what are the opportunities they're going to create for you that you really need to take advantage of? So let's just quickly go through the trends. Robotics. So robotics are coming. They're getting more. They'll become more and more prevalent. You can see these images here. The images actually we've got there. One is a robot lawnmower, and the other ones at the bottom are robot security. Now, most people think of robots as C-3PO type, one from Lost in Space, the Warning Will Robinson sort of robots. I'm not talking about humanoid robots at all. I'm talking about single-purpose robots that are largely sensors with some sort of implement or equipment attached. We're going to see a proliferation of these things. So we already have a robot vacuum cleaner in our house. I have a robot pool cleaner. Google have driverless cars. There are robots everywhere, and we're going to see more and more robots as the technology improves, and it's facilitated by better sensors and also wireless interconnectivity. Okay, it makes all this stuff possible. Along with better battery technology and all that sort of stuff. So robots are going to be here. The sort of robots I'm talking about are single-purpose robots that do things. So you'll have industrial and commercial cleaning robots. In the building industry, I think you'll have trenching robots and roofing robots and painting robots and those sorts of things. So lots of different ones. In the horticultural sector, you'll have mobile toolbars, you will have exoskeletons, we'll have all sorts of things that we can use in a whole variety of different areas. So robotics is coming. Think about it and how you can use robots. Globalization then, the second trend. Globalization, we've been talking about it for 20 years, but it's really starting to bite now. Australia is just about to sign free trade agreements with China and India, and has signed a number of free trade agreements with our Asian trading partners. These are going to create fantastic opportunities for companies that either export or import. So it'll give you the opportunity to bring product in from China quite cheaply and effectively as well. It will also give the Chinese, and I'll just say Chinese, but our Asian trading partners access to our markets as well. So if you're in a market that could suffer with a bit from competition, then you might want to have a think about that. But there's also going to be lots of opportunities in that space. Also in that space, we're going to have access to a global labour pool. And I already have 2 virtual assistants in my business, Ray and Chris, fantastic employees, both located in the Philippines. And more people are using services like these around the world. Now, what I see is in 2030 we're moving towards a global skill shortage. So some great work by a guy called Rainer Strack from Boston Consulting Group, who's been talking about in 2030 we're heading for a major global skill shortage as the baby boomers leave the workforce. Now in Australia, that global skill shortage is going to start to bite in 2020. And we're going to find it more and more difficult to attract and retain and hang on to good quality people. But it also means that we'll be able to attract and retain people from overseas as well. So you might want to think about cultural diversity and a whole heap of other things in your business, but also where you're going to access labour from. The outsourcing conundrum is quite interesting. I think there's going to be opportunities as we start to run out of skilled labour for you to break your business up into sectors and sections and have some of your labour force will be remote, so you'll employ people, say, overseas to do certain tasks in your business, which will free up cash for you to either spend more on obtaining and hanging on to people in Australia in key positions in your business, or allow you to actually just employ more people locally in positions that really matter. So I think there's some real opportunities going to come from globalization. Data is the next big trend. More and more sensors, more and more information. We have myriads, of gigabytes of information every day collected on our businesses, around our businesses, that we can either access or gain access to. Now the big challenge is most organisations spend little time converting that data into information. And when I'm talking information, I'm talking information that gives them real insights into their business that helps them make better decisions. Now the data is not going to be restricted to your business. It's going to be up and down the supply chain. You're going to have better market data, and the companies that make better use of that data will really secure some opportunities going forward. Fourth trend is connection, and this is all about consumers. Consumers want to be far more connected with the people that supply their products and services. Now, it's not just about social media. That's part of the puzzle, but it's not just about social media. It's about thinking about your business and how you can build stronger connections with a niche target market. Okay, so it's going to be thinking really carefully about how can we build better connection with people and what can we do. So what are some of the things you can do in your business to build a stronger connection with your client base, with your prospects, and with the community of people that sit around your business? The last trend then is convenience. Consumers are relatively time poor, relatively cash rich, and want people to help them to give them some more leisure time. So we all want better work-life balance. So how can you build convenience? What opportunities does it provide for you and your business to provide convenience in a range of options? And that can be around opening hours or delivery times, or free delivery, or it doesn't have to be free, just delivery, home delivery, whole range of different things. Google have a new service now called Google Free, where they'll actually go shopping for you. So you can come up with an online shopping list from a whole range of different shops, and somebody from Google will go round and do your shopping for you, and it's delivered to your home. It's available in the States at the moment. So how can you build convenience into your business model? Okay, so lots of things there. It can be portion control, it can be a whole range of different things. It can just be child minding, it can be opening hours, it can be the way you accept cash from people. Just think about convenience because it's a major trend. So if you think of those 5 trends, robotics, globalization, data, connection, and convenience, which of those trends do you think could give rise to the biggest opportunities for you and your business? Just take a couple of seconds to think about it and write it down. So just make some notes. I should have mentioned at the front end, make sure you download the worksheets that we've given you for this. So the worksheets will be attached to or close by. So just make sure you download the worksheets. All right, so if you thought about those trends, some other trends you might want to think about. This is a survey by Deloitte. It shows that the biggest gaps that people are seeing in their business is around leadership capabilities. So how can you build the capability of your leadership and of the leaders that are distributed throughout your business within your business, because they could be the biggest areas of opportunity for you. Similarly, complexity. So this is a survey that just shows that 95% of businesses are somewhat complex to very complex. Only 4% of them are simple. So what can you do to make the complex far more simple in your business? And it could be picking up on some of those trends, but think about it. Is an opportunity to make your business very simple for consumers to engage with or clients to engage with. Just think about simplicity. All right. Now, when we're thinking about opportunities, I guess I think about external and internal opportunities. And this is a great model to encourage you just to think outside the square, if you like, around external opportunities. And it's a model that we call the growth strategy matrix. And if you think about it, it says there are, if you've got markets or customer groups or types, you have existing ones and new ones. And then we've got products and services. We can have existing and new products and services. Now, if we put it into a simple matrix like this, what we end up with is in quadrant 1, which we call the market penetration quadrant, is where we take our existing products to our existing markets and improve our leverage in that space. Okay, so that's taking existing products to existing clients. So maybe you have a range of products, and not all your clients use your full range of products. So it just could be a simple, extension program for that. So think about about that. Are there opportunities for you to actually do more in that space? Quadrant 2 then is where we take existing products to new markets or to new customer groups. Okay, so part of that is just taking those, thinking about what new markets. So we've got a great product. Are there new markets we can go into? Now it could be export. We've talked about opportunities in that place, but simply it could also be domestic market stuff as well. So just think about the opportunities there to take your existing products into new markets, and it could be geographic. It could be a different consumer sector. It could be a whole range of different things. All right. Quadrant 3 then is a new product into existing markets. So you may have come up with a great new product, a great new wigwam for a goose's bridle, as my grandma used to say, and you might want to say, let's take that out to our existing customers. They will love that. Okay, so you may do that, and that's that product expansion strategy. And then the last one then is the opportunities where you take a new product to a new market. Okay, so that's where you're taking a product that you've never manufactured or never made before or never delivered before effectively to a market sector that you've never really worked with before. Obviously, it's the most risky of all the strategies, because it's all unknown. Now, unfortunately, it's where lots of people spend a lot of their time is in that space. So I'd encourage you to think about the first 3 quadrants first, and then lastly go to diversification. Okay. Very rarely do I come across a business that has fully penetrated the current market, there's not an additional market they can sell their existing products to, or a new product into an existing marketplace. So make sure you've checked off those opportunities before you move on to diversification. So just press pause for a second, have a think about that model, have a think about the 5 trends, and just think, okay, What are some of the opportunities that are emerging for me here? And just start writing a list, start thinking out some of your opportunities. When you're ready, just press the play button and we'll start again. Okay, welcome back. So we've talked about some external stuff. Internal opportunities are also important. So sometimes it's not about a market-driven opportunity. Sometimes the big opportunities are within your business. And, can be around people. Do I have the right people? Do I need more people? Do I need less people? Do I have the right people, but I need to change their skills? Okay, so is it about proving skills, knowledge, changing behaviours? What is it with our people? So there can be some real opportunities in terms of people. It might be an offshoring strategy, an outsourcing strategy. There may be all sorts of things that you can do in terms of your people strategy that are real opportunities for you. Now, they could also often find with internal opportunities that they are things you may need to do in concert with an external facing opportunity. Processes, second level. So what can we do here to leverage up our processes? Okay. So, if you look at the work done in lean manufacturing, we know that 20 to 30% of your costs are due to waste and inefficiency. So if your business, has $1 million in costs, we know that $200,000 to $300,000 is due to waste and inefficiency. All right. Now, by applying some lean manufacturing tools and stuff to your business, you can start to extract a lot of that waste and inefficiency. But think about your processes. It might be about, can we re-engineer our processes? Do we need new equipment? Do we need new plant upgrade? Whatever it is, maybe it's infrastructure. But think about your people and your processes and how you can use those to create real opportunities for you and your business. Okay, so I'm going to get you to really think about this in a second. So if we think about how we go about this. Now, there are a number of different methodologies for looking at opportunities and different things. There's some, we can look at blue ocean strategies and all sorts of different things. But one of the simplest tools is to use your intuition. Now, your intuition is your gut feel. And it's a really powerful tool. And here's some definitions. So this one's from Carl Jung. It says intuition explores the unknown and senses possibilities and implications which may not be readily apparent. So it's about finding things that are not readily apparent, but when you take the time to focus on them, spring out at you. Bonobo in the bottom there, 2003, said intuition is the subconscious integration of all the experiences, conditioning and knowledge of a lifetime. So the couple of big things here, it's around subconscious and getting in touch with that. Now, my experience with intuition is that it's your subconscious mind processes a lot of information. So we've been talking here about opportunities. I've been asking you to think about opportunities. In the background, your unconscious mind has been processing all we've been talking about, has been processing at an enormous rate. Now, one of the challenges is we often struggle for our conscious and our unconscious minds to link together. There's often too much noise, there's lots of paradigms, there's lots of things going on that block us from actually seeing what's really there in terms of our the unconscious. So using your intuition is really just creating a bridge between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. And there's a great video here, so you might just watch this short bit of this video with Apple CEO Tim Cook, where he talks about using his intuition, his gut feel, helped him make the decision to go to Apple when all the logic said that it was the wrong decision to make. Hindsight, probably a good decision, but his gut feel, because his gut feel put him in touch with that real processing rather than getting messed up with emotion and other things. In Mindshop, we talk about an intuition model. The intuition model is really about a balance between conscious and subconscious, as I've talked about. It's about memory and perception. So perception is often your reality, and memory can be skewed. And then it's about manual and automatic responses. Often we have automatic responses to things and stimuli that come along. So, what I see intuition is about removing that noise, that white noise that blocks out your conscious and your subconscious from getting together. It's about being more aware of what's going on. And it's really important that when you start brainstorming and doing things, that you write down whatever happens and you record whatever happens. And write down all the good ideas, all the things that flow out when you're doing these sort of intuition exercises. Write down all the ideas and evaluate them or interpret them later. Okay, so that's really important. So intuition, really interesting way to make decisions in business, and to certainly help with brainstorming and looking at opportunities. So what I want you to do now, I actually want you to use your intuition. So using your gut feel, I want you to reflect on where your business is now. I'll get you to pause it, and you can think about this, but I want you to reflect on where your business is now, where you'd like it to be in, say, 12 months' time, or at the end of 2015, 2016, whatever it is for you, and then use your intuition to note down what you feel is your key opportunity. And there may be a couple of them. So list out the opportunities first and then go back and identify which one you think is the key. All right, so I want you to just take a moment, reflect on where you are now, reflect on where you'd like to be, and then write down what you feel is the key opportunity that's going to help you get there. So press pause. When you're ready to start again, just press play and we'll catch up. Okay, so welcome back. So I hope you got some ideas down there, and in that sort of list of opportunities, I want you to have picked one. Okay, so you're going to have a chance to work on one of them today. So what do you think is the major opportunity? And the question I often ask there is, if there was one thing you had to do in the next year that you really had to do, really had to nail in the next year, no excuses, what would it be? Now, if that's not the answer to your question, you haven't nailed your key opportunity. So what's the one thing you must do in the next 12 months? No excuses. All right, write it down. Cool. Now, strategies for success. So let's start thinking about how we take what's simply an idea on a piece of paper and map it out a little bit better. And we're just going to show you some really simple tools. Now, the first one is a tool called mind mapping, and this was developed by a gentleman called Tony Buzan in the 1970s. There's already a bit of this stuff on the website, and Google is your friend here. Put mind mapping and there's a whole heap of stuff on it. Okay, but it's really quite a simple concept. So basically, mind mapping stimulates both hemispheres of your brain, right and left, your creative and logical sections of your brain. They're not exactly right and left, but that's a good analogy. And what encourages you to do is to do those and to use those logical creative things to really explore an issue. So what you do is you simply draw a circle, and I'll show you an example of one here. So what we've done is put a circle in the middle, turn around and pour time and pour performing division, okay, and then around that you just pull arms off it. So you just draw arms off it and you write down, what are the things I think of? In this case, they're sort of leadership, training, people, sales, products, processes. Okay, so I've mapped all those things out. So they're the things I think of when I think about turning around our poor performance. Okay, and then you go back and say, well, what do I mean when I'm thinking about leadership? And it might be, okay, we need to benchmark best practice, or maybe run a special leadership day with the team. When I think about sales, what do we need to do there? Or we need to refine our sales process, or put in salesforce.com, or review the pipeline with the sales manager, or do other things. So you can just keep working around. Now, this mind map has just gone out sort of 2 layers, but you can go out additional layers again. So if you said refine our sales process, you may have some other thoughts about that you want to put down. Just keep going until you've got good coverage of the issue, and then you've ended up with your mind map. Now, it's a tool you have to practice to get used to, but today's a great day. So what I want you to do, we've given you some worksheets there. So one of those worksheets there says the mind mapping sheet. So get the mind map one. In the top box, I want you to write in the number one, the key opportunity that you identified in the previous step. And then below that, there's a box there that says for your mind map, I want you to do a mind map around that issue. I want you to flesh out that issue so you've identified a whole heap of the key points of it. All right. Now, when you've done that, I'll get you to press pause and do that. But when you've finished doing your mind map, press play and we'll go on to the next set. Okay, so you should have mapped out your opportunity. What I want you to do now is use the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. Okay, so the 80-20 rule says that 20% of the issues on your mind map, if we address them, will give us 80% of the result. Now, it's not an engineering solution, so what I'm going to say is that's the top 3 issues. Okay, so it's not exactly 20%, so it's not 55.67 repeater issues. I want you to pick the top 3 things that if we address them, would give you 80% of the result you're looking for. Okay, so the first one, you know, in this case, this mind map here, these people have identified, you know, manage the problem children out in the people space, refine our sales processes in sales, and then in terms of processes is do up a list of what worked and what didn't in the last 12 months. Okay, so they're the three things that they said they're going to work on. Okay, so I want you to do the same thing and come up with three things that you're going to work on. Okay, put those on your worksheet. Press pause, play again, and you're ready to go. Okay, so we've identified our opportunity, we've mind mapped it to cover off a whole heap of things. You've then Paretoed the mind map to come up with your top 3 ideas, which are going to give you 80% of the impact or the benefit. Okay. So we now need to convert these into action, and we've got quite a simple tool here that we call a strategy matrix. And it's really quite an easy thing. So what we do, you'll have a worksheet there. What I want you to do is write each strategy down in the left-hand column. There's a box for each of them, as you can see. So put those 3 strategies, and the 3 strategies are the 3 issues that you pulled off your Pareto. Okay, so you Paretoed off the mind map. I'll get the English right. So those 3 issues that we put down. So in this case, they were refine sales process, manage the problem children out, and work out what worked well and what didn't last year, in the last 12 months. Okay, so you put each of those into a box on the left-hand side. Then I want you to go and say for each issue, so I work across the row, not down the columns, work across the row. So for issue 1, I want you to give me 3 or 4 dot points on where are we now. Okay, so where are we now with that particular issue? What's happening now? Where are we now? Where would we like to be in 12 months? Okay, so what are the outcomes we'd like to have, or what we want to change? So what we expect to have in 12 months' time. And then very quickly, I want you to say, if that's where we are now and that's where we need to be, what are the 3 or 4 actions we need to take in order to get there? Okay, so write down those action items. If you can, write them as an action statement, starting with the doing word, starting with a word like create, you know, empower, ensure, develop, build, whatever. So create a little statement. So don't just write down sales, write down improve our sales processes. Put down who you think should be responsible for ensuring that gets done, Frank, and then I want you to put a date down and pick a realistic date for when you'd like to have that completed. Okay, so for each action. So what you're going to do is, let's just recap. For each strategy, you're going to work across the row, you're going to brainstorm, you know, 2 to 4 points on where are we now, 2 to 4 points on where we're going to be, and you're going to come up with 2 or 3 actions for how you're going to get from now to where. Okay, we're going to put responsibilities and timings on those actions. Okay, now if you're doing this in pairs, it's a good idea to do this in pairs. You've got somebody else in your business you can do this with. You know, get them to come up with their 3 issues, and then after 15 minutes, switch sides with them, and so you brainstorm them together and discuss it together. So often it helps to have somebody else to talk to. All right. So now we've come up with a really simple action plan. Okay. So we've Paretoed out our mind map. We've brainstormed up what we think is the key opportunity. We've Paretoed it out. We've pulled out the 3 issues that we think are going to help us get there. We've then done where are we now? Where do we need to be? How are we going to get there for each of those 3 issues? So we've developed a pretty nice little plan. All right, it's important to think about barriers. Okay, so barriers are really interesting because barriers actually pushing through a barrier does a lot of things, and it gives us things like, you know, confidence, a bit of swagger in our walk, helps with our leadership, can make us better time managers, can improve our business acumen, does a whole heap of things that fixing a business problem can do a whole heap of things for you. Now, it's a business, personal problem, doesn't matter. Pushing through the barriers. So sometimes it's actually good to create some barriers to help you accelerate with your opportunity. Okay, so you might, what I'm talking about there is you might say, okay, so one of the things I'm going to do is give myself I've gone blank. So one thing you might do is give yourself a tight deadline. Okay, so if a deadline's a bit of a barrier for you, you're a busy person, you got a lot on, give yourself a really tight deadline, because there's nothing like like the fear of execution to focus your mind on escape. Okay, so if you've got a tight deadline to work to, then often you'll do a lot more than you will if you leave it loose and say, I'll get to it someday. So think about a barrier. If you're really busy, okay, give yourself a tight deadline, because then it will force you to make some choices. And if this is an important thing, then it'll help you do it. So use barriers as a tool in your business, okay? All right. Lastly, what we'll get you to do is then take that plan from the strategy matrix, if you like, and summarize it into a one-page plan. Okay, so think about what you've done there. So you've come up with some, you've thought about the now and the where earlier today, where you'd like to be with your business. You've thought about what the key opportunities might be. You've done your mind map on it. You've done your Pareto analysis of that. Then you've done your now, where, how, your strategy matrix on that. Okay, and then you've come up with these things. So what I want you to do is just summarize quickly, where are we now with our business, where we like to be in 12 months time. Here's the key opportunities we're going to need to work on, and then put the strategies. So off your strategy matrix, you can put your strategies and your action plans in place, and you've built a really good plan. Now the point of doing the one-page plan is it's all in one spot. It gets your thoughts logically organized. It's an effective communication methodology for you to communicate with others, which makes it a really powerful tool. You can use one-page plans all places in your business, but it's a great tool to use. So get in the habit of summarizing everything in a one-page plan. Okay, so in summary, we've talked through where are you now, where do you want to be in your business. Let's use your intuition to come up with what do you think are the big opportunities that are going to help you get to there. We use mind mapping as a way of brainstorming and fleshing out that particular opportunity. We then use the Pareto principle to pull out the 3 key issues that we thought were important from around that issue. We then use the strategy matrix then to develop action plans using that now, where, how methodology to come up with a simple action plan. We then summarize that plan, the whole process really, into a one-page plan. So you've ended up with a great communication document. Now, if you're a client of Strategic Business Development, which is me, or of the WLW group with Ian, then you should have access to our online resource center. So please take that information, add it into the resource center, and then we can start to build a dialogue around that with you and help you to implement that in the future. Now, if you're not, then if you're not a current client of ours, I'm really happy to do that. But I'm also really happy to try and just hold you accountable. So if you'd like, please just pick up an email and add it to an email and flick it onto Ian or myself, and our contacts are at the end here. Flick it onto Ian ourselves, and we're really happy to flick you back an email or give you a call every now and then and say, hey, how are you going with your plan, and to hold you accountable to that. All right? So take the process we've gone through today. It's a really simple, powerful process. Use your intuition. Use some simple tools to actually help you drive and convert opportunities in your business. So train your team up in these and use it. All right? So then start thinking about, okay, there's my plan. What's the first step we're going to get onto? And let's get stuck into that. So how do we work with businesses? Ian and I both don't do off-the-shelf stuff. So basically, we will tailor a solution to meet the specific needs. Normally, that solution has, one of 3 components, sometimes all 3, but sometimes one of all 3. We believe you need to have a strategy and a plan for moving forward. And so we're happy to help you develop that plan and put it in place or critique that plan. We then find that you need to have some support. Okay, so you need support in the implementation phase. And we're happy to provide that for you if that's required. The other thing we found is when people had a plan and they were putting things in place, then we found that there were gaps in their skills and the gaps in their skills of their team. So we've developed training and development programs that we can use to support you and your team and improve your skills and your knowledge. So they're the sort of 3 ways that we work with businesses. Tailored programs, all fees, all services are agreed fixed price. Really happy to talk to you about that. Now, if you'd like to, we're really happy to have a 30-minute call with you where, we'll take you through a similar process to this, where we put up your 3 issues for us. We'll help you then create a plan to address those. If you'd like to do that, it's really simple. Just go to takethe30minutechallenge.com, click on that. It just takes you to a simple form. Fill out your 3 issues, some contact details, pick a time that suits you for us to contact you and talk to you, and then we'll have a phone call with you. If you're local to us, we'll probably come and have a cup of coffee with you instead. All right, all obligation free, and of course it's free. No hard sell, just good solid advice to help you grow your business and take it to that next level. So thanks very much. If Ian or I can help you in any way, our contact details are on this slide. We'd really love to have a chat with you. Don't feel that you can't just give us a call and ask us a question. More than happy to do that as well. So look forward to talking to you again soon. We have a number of these webinars, and if you subscribe to our newsletters, then no doubt you will be kept up to date on what's happening in our webinar programs going forward. Check out our websites, lots of free information, lots of videos, previous webinars, all that sort of stuff, particularly on the sbdbusiness.com.au site, a lot of information there. All right, thanks very much. Talk to you again soon. Bye.